All right. Hi, everybody. This is David Jensen. I am the Sales Development Manager for Clearplex. I want to welcome everybody to Madico's April webinar series. The topic of today's presentation is Introduction to Clearplex Windshield Protection Film. All right, so let's get it started. So first, just want to preface, we're going to be playing a video that answers the question, what is windshield protection film? Please pay close attention to the video as it's going to highlight Clearplex's product specification, performance data, and other information. So here goes the video.
Back to back, we're taking aim. Feel the wrath in your veins. All is cold, cold as stone. Roll the dice, gonna make you feel unbreakable. Make you feel unshakable. Make you feel alive. Both of your eyes are closed. Go deep inside your soul. Feel the adrenaline. Come on, let the games begin. You make me feel alive.
All right, so that's a video. The reason why I wanted to show this video is that I hope after viewing the video, we can all clearly see that Clearplex is an exterior applied windshield protection film. This is in contrast to the interior applied automotive films. It also kind of covers a little bit of the installation procedure. We're not going to go too much into detail on the installation procedure for Clearplex during this presentation. That is going to be covered on April 29th when we present a full-length Clearplex installation tutorial webinar. Also, this video is something that any of our dealers can have in their shops. So if you guys have a monitor or something and you would like this video on loop, this video is available. Just reach out to your either domestic or international sales representative and they can get you a file for this video that you can play in your shop. So moving on, I want to give you an overview of the history of Clearplex. So the concept of Clearplex windshield protection film came about in 2005 from a group of PhD professors from Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. After a period of time spent in R&D and perfecting the product's construction and characteristics, these professors contacted several different window film manufacturers to see who would be best suited to manufacture this innovative new product. After careful deliberation in 2006, Madico was selected as the manufacturing partner. Shortly thereafter, a patent was filed in 2007, which was later awarded in 2011. Domestic and international sales then started in 2008 and 2009, respectively. 2010 through 2015 saw dramatic growth of Clearplex, as well as the formal issuing of our 3 patents. The next takes us to 2016. 2016 was a really significant year for Clearplex. That was the year that Clearplex was acquired by Madico. After the Madico acquisition, Clearplex continued to see tremendous growth, both domestically and internationally. And looking forward to 2020 and beyond, we expect to maintain our place as the world leader of windshield protection film. So what really does set Clearplex apart? First and foremost, in Clearplex and Madico. First and foremost, we are the manufacturer. So what exactly does this mean? We take raw goods, and in the case of Clearplex, raw polyester, and we create a finished goods, and in this case, Clearplex. During the manufacturing process, the raw polyester that becomes Clearplex goes through our in-house coating laminating machines to add the adhesive, scratch-resistant top coat, and solar properties to create the finished product. Also, the fact that all of our manufacturing is in-house ensures that we have total control over product quality. And also regarding supply chain, we can ensure that our supply chain is always full because we're able to manage the inventory from the raw goods in our plant to the finished goods in our shipping warehouse and on to the customer. We also have our own in-house R&D department, which is focused on continually improving our existing product, as well as developing new products. In the case of Clearplex, we'll be releasing a new version of Clearplex called Clearplex IR. This version is an IR nanoceramic heat rejection version of the film that will utilize the same IR rejection particles used in our Winkos line of film. Furthermore, Madico has made significant investments in the future. Just this year, we finalized our move into a new $50 million production facility in Pinellas Park, Florida, which has increased our production capacity and modernized all of our production lines. Regarding financial security, Madico is a fully owned subsidiary of Lintech Corporation. Lintech is a multi-billion-dollar Japanese corporation with operations around the world. Lintech's financial investment in Madico ensures that Madico will continue to be a major player as a manufacturer in the window film market for the foreseeable future. Moving on, Madico has formal partnerships with vendor-focused associations like SEMA, International Window Film Association, and European Window Film Association. We have also made efforts to align ourselves with prominent consumer-focused associations. One particular association is the Porsche Club of America. Madico attends the PCA's, Porsche Club of America's annual Porsche Parade to promote our whole range of automotive products and build brand awareness directly with the consumer. Furthermore, we have made significant investments in product testing to receive formal government approvals. Most recently, in March of 2020, we received EN 45545 certification for Clearplex. EN 45545 is a flame spread certification that is a required certification a product must receive to be sold into governmental transit authorities. So what does this all mean? This means that Madico spends significant time, money, and energy to ensure that our products have the correct certificates and approvals that will allow our dealers to target every possible market. So now I want to go over the Clearplex product specifications and performance data. On the right is a diagram showing the construction of Clearplex. Starting with the adhesive, we use a removable acrylic pressure-sensitive adhesive. We use this type of adhesive with Clearplex because when it comes time to remove Clearplex, the removable PSA pressure-sensitive adhesive will ensure that there is minimal to no adhesive residue left on the glass. Also, the removable PSA helps make the removal process quick and easy. Next, we have the 4mm single-ply polyester film. Due to Clearplex being a film applied to the windshield of an automobile, it is essential that the film has exceptional optical clarity and minimal optical distortion. Constructing Clearplex out of a single-ply film ensures that we achieve both of these things. Finally, we have the exterior scratch-resistant coating. This is the coating that allows Clearplex to withstand abrasions from the windshield wiper. I want to point out some additional specific product specs and performance data. The VLT of Clearplex is 90%. Additionally, Clearplex rejects 99.9% of UV. And the last specification that I want to identify is the Tabor abrasion resistance rating. On the Tabor abrasion resistance test, Clearplex has a rating of 0.3 to 0.5%. And that is a measurement of the delta haze, or the change that a product has after undergoing the abrasion test. The lower the percentage, the better a film performs in regards to abrasion resistance. Clearplex outperforms any windshield protection film on the market in this test. And it is this test that indicates how a film will perform against abrasions from windshield wipers. So moving on, we're going to get really into the meat of this presentation, talking about the target markets for Clearplex and how to sell to these markets. So I kind of like to explain our target markets as what is the low-hanging fruit? What is the easiest market to sell Clearplex to? And first and foremost, that's your luxury vehicles. So this is everything from supercars, exotics, to your BMWs, Audis, and Porsches, and other similar manufacturers. And why is it that these are your low-hanging fruit, and why is it easy to sell Clearplex to these customers? Well, one, they have expensive windshields that justify the cost of Clearplex. So these are windshields that have a replacement cost that are at such a high rate that they easily exceed the cost of installing Clearplex, and usually by a factor of 3, 4, or 5 times the cost of one Clearplex replacement. Also, these are owners that understand the value of protecting these vehicles. So for example, if you're a shop that offers paint protection film, you're going to have an extremely easy time upselling Clearplex to these owners because they're going to be coming into your shop already expecting to spend a significant amount of money. You know, if they're getting a ceramic coating, a paint protection film job, it's very feasible and reasonable to expect that they'd be walking out with a ticket in the thousands. And Clearplex would make up a small portion of that overall ticket. So this is why we like to identify that this is definitely the target, the target customer that you should always be pitching Clearplex to. And here are some examples of installations from different customers around the US and the world. So next, staying within personal vehicles, we're going to be talking about vehicles that are equipped with ADAS windshields. If you're not familiar with what ADAS stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. So this is anything on the car that automates your driving experience. And in regards to windshields, it means cars that have things like adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, and front collision warning. What we are seeing is ADAS technology is becoming a standard feature among mid-market manufacturers. According to a report generated by Mitchell, and Mitchell is an organization that provides the latest updates on industry trends within a variety of different industries, including the automotive aftermarket accessories industry. Most all 2019 and newer Subarus are going to come equipped with ADAS technology. The specific number is between 80 to 90% of all Subarus are going to become equipped with ADAS windshield technology. Why this is important to you is ADAS windshield replacement costs hover around $1,300 to $1,600 per windshield. And the reason for that is there are now different factors that come into play when replacing these windshields. It's no longer just the cost of glass, it's the cost of recalibrating these very precise sensors that sit within the glass. What we're seeing is that other mid-market manufacturers are following suit. So it's not just Subaru, we're seeing Honda and Toyota and Kia and Hyundai and other mid-market manufacturers starting to offer ADAS windshield technology as a standard feature across their line of vehicles. So really what this means is that the mid-market car windshield replacement costs are increasing, which in turn means there's a huge new target market opportunity for Clearplex. We're going to go in a little bit, in a couple other slides, we're going to talk about how you should price Clearplex. And when we get into talking about how you should price Clearplex, that is how you're going to see why there's such a huge new target market due to the rise of ADAS-enabled windshields. So also, if you do want to get the data for yourself, when we share this presentation on Madico U, below that is a link directly to the Mitchell report that cites all of this data. Okay, moving on. So for still staying in the personal vehicle market, you also have off-road vehicles and recreational vehicles. So the reason why these are a great target market for Clearplex are, one, these are flat windshields that are prone to breaking. They're large and generally expensive windshields, especially talking in reference to the recreational vehicles. They're hard to source, they're difficult to replace, and finally, they're easy to install. And the reason why they're easy to install goes back to the first point. They are flat windshields, and if they curve, they generally just curve on one plane, which minimizes the amount of heat shrinking required to get the film to conform to the windshield. So now I'm going to cover the key selling points for personal vehicles, and then after this, we're going to cover the second target market, which is commercial vehicles. So really, first and foremost, you have to sell to the correct market. You have to understand which customers are going to be receptive to windshield protection film. So it's going to be the luxury and the ADAS market that you're going to be coming in contact with most frequently. These are going to be the customers that are walking into your shop looking for your tint packages, your ceramic coating packages, and your paint protection film packages. It's going to be a little less likely that you run into RV customers and maybe off-road customers. So this is where you really need to gear yourself and pitch Clearplex to, is the luxury and the ADAS customers. You have to explain the benefits of Clearplex. And why you have to do this is windshield protection film is still a fairly new product. When you compare it to any of the other automotive aftermarket accessory products like tint or paint protection film, windshield protection film was introduced decades later than any of these other products. So it's essential to educate the customer on why they need windshield protection film. And when you do this, you have to clearly define and explain the benefits. So first, customers will always say, how is this going to affect my driving? Well, Clearplex being 90% VLT and a single ply film, it's going to be absolutely optically clear. It's going to be nearly invisible to the naked eye. Customers will not know it's there. It will not impact their visibility, and it will not cause optical distortions. Also, you have to just confirm that it costs significantly less than replacing a windshield. And this is especially important when you're talking about our target markets. And finally, it maintains the vehicle's OEM structural integrity. So a windshield is responsible for a vehicle's structural integrity to a certain percentage in both a front end collision and a rollover collision. Every time you replace a windshield, that structural integrity gets compromised, and thus the windshield's ability to perform in the way that the manufacturer intends is compromised. So hitting on all three of those points should really get across to the customer why windshield protection film is something that's a necessity for their vehicle and not an option. Finally, you have to price correctly, and this is really essential. So around the country and really worldwide, and for any of the international attendees on this presentation, all of these numbers are in US dollars. We see on average that most people will charge around $450 to $550 for a Clearplex installation, with a premium for supercars or cars with a higher degree of difficulty. And the reason for this is you have to compensate for either additional labor time for those cars with additional difficulty, like a Tesla or a Corvette, or also compensate for the fact that you have to be a little bit more careful during the heat shrinking on supercars that have expensive gaskets or expensive things that if they do get damaged, you have to compensate for that during the installation. So why do you want to price around this price point? So I just kind of want to bring back the point that I mentioned earlier, which is what was the average windshield replacement cost for an ADAS windshield? And that was sitting right around $1,500. So if you price Clearplex between $450 to $550, you're pricing at about the third of the replacement cost for a windshield for an ADAS equipped windshield. And when you segment your customers between luxury, supercars, and ADAS, your ADAS windshield customers are going to have windshields on the lower end of that spectrum. So if you're pricing Clearplex so it's justified to the target customer that has the lowest windshield replacement cost, it is definitely going to be justified to the customer that has the highest windshield replacement cost. Also, this is going to make it so you have a much better chance of selling to daily drivers. And then that's where you're going to really be getting the volume of your sales, is selling to daily drivers, selling to the Subaru owners, selling to the Tesla owners and whatnot. So making sure that you're pricing this correctly, which then will allow that customer to justify getting Clearplex, and also justify getting Clearplex not once, but maybe 2, 3, or 4 times before they get to the cost of replacing their windshield once. It's very important that you get customers to understand this and understand how the cost of one Clearplex installation compares to the cost of one windshield replacement. Many customers do not make this correlation, And the reason for that is a lot of customers don't understand how expensive their windshields are to replace in the first place. This ADAS windshield technology has just recently been introduced in the past year or two. So many customers, if they've replaced a windshield, their past experience, it might have been a small deductible, or it might have been a couple $100 even if they were paying out of pocket. And that is completely different now. So if they hear that Clearplex is $500, they might immediately turn away from that, but that's when you have to educate them on what the real cost for replacing their windshields are. So moving on to commercial vehicles, we segment commercial vehicles out as fleet vehicles, like buses, rental cars, delivery trucks, trains, and specialty vehicles. These are all 4 examples of real world fleets that utilize Clearplex. So in the top left corner, this is the Melbourne Metro Train Authority. That's an example of long haul trains, city metro trains, light rail examples that you can go after with Clearplex. Then we also have fleet vehicles like buses. We have the Copenhagen, Denmark Muni bus system that utilizes Clearplex. Then we have specialty vehicles like city service vehicles, for example, garbage trucks. Or in the case in the bottom left-hand corner, Norway Mining Company, which is responsible for much of the road building that happens in Norway. So these are kind of outside of the probably traditional scope of who you would consider receiving Clearplex or going after with Clearplex. But these are great target customers for the following reason. All of these vehicles are revenue generators for businesses. So if these vehicles are out of commission, their downtime, companies can draw a direct line from downtime to lost revenue for those specific businesses. Also, generally, these are expensive and hard to source windshields. Commercial windshield replacement insurance is very rare. Additionally, these vehicles could be located in areas that are just simply difficult to get to, especially in the case of a mining or a specialty equipment vehicle. And then finally, there's the green initiative that you can sell to. Many companies and governmental agencies nowadays are very aware of their footprint. So Clearplex is an eco alternative to throwing away non-recyclable windshield glass. So both all automotive glass is completely non-recyclable. So if automotive glass, either tempered side window glass or rear glass or windshield glass, if it does get broken, it goes right into the landfill. So educating your customers on these aspects will get them to understand why Clearplex is something they really need and will help you in your selling effort in pitching Clearplex to these customers. These next 2 slides, I'm not going to get into too much detail on them because they're 2 different case studies for Clearplex in the commercial fleet vehicle sector. When this presentation gets posted to Madico U, I recommend everybody just to take a look at these 2 different case studies. The first case study is a theoretical case study, which is based off of numbers that are generated from Element Fleet, which is another industry-leading resource that provides industry updates. So this is just a theoretical case study for 1,000 fleet operation that has 590 total downtime events per unit per year. That sort of a fleet of that size can expect to be spending nearly $600,000 of lost revenue due to downtime. And you can use the formula on this slide to then apply it to similar fleets that might be in your local area. What you would have to find out is how many windshield breakages that fleet experiences per year. And then you can use the formula that we have on this slide to then educate that customer on what sort of windshield replacement costs they are incurring that they might not realize they're incurring. Next is a real world case. This is from one of our our distributor in Hungary. This is a Clearplex program that they started in 2014. They are protecting about 450 buses per year. They've saved about 1.6 million euros total through 2019, which equates to 315,000 US dollars saved per year. The Clearplex longevity on these buses is close to 200,000 kilometers in 2 years. And I'm going to go into why Clearplex tends to last longer on fleets in a couple other slides. And so why did they decide to go with Clearplex? Well, the average windshield lifespan is less than 1 year. So Clearplex was able to extend the lifespan of those windshields by more than double. And because the Hungary government does annual inspections, any bus with a broken windshield is taken out of commission. And that, of course, leads to the lost revenue due to downtime. But when you have a chance and you're able to view this presentation, please do so you can get more information. And by the time this gets uploaded, we're also going to be adding 2 to 3 other case studies that cover a variety of the different examples that we gave. So specialty equipment, metro trains and buses and whatnot. Okay, so moving into the Clearplex warranty and then also the longevity of the film. So the warranty of Clearplex is an 18-month, 18,000-mile warranty. This covers things like delamination, adhesive failure, yellowing, bubbling, cracking, things like that. The way that I always like to explain the Clearplex warranty is it's designed identical to like a paint protection film warranty, in that the warranty is on the film itself and it's not on the underlying surface. So we don't offer any glass breakage warranty, similar to how paint protection film doesn't offer any protection warranty or guarantee to the underlying paint surface. Going into longevity, when you talk about longevity, you really have to segment it out on what Clearplex is being installed on. So on a daily driver for a personal vehicle, and keep in mind, this is all assuming that the end consumer is following our aftercare instructions. Clearplex has routinely been seen to last upwards of 18 to 24 months. On something that would be more so a weekend driver, upwards of 2+ years. We've had many instances of attending the Porsche parade and seeing Clearplex that has lasted 4 or 5 years. On fleet vehicles, what we traditionally see is that Clearplex lasts 1.5 to 2 times the mileage driven lifespan of a personally owned vehicle. So it's not because Clearplex lasts 1.5 to 2 times the lifespan or performs better on fleet vehicles. The reason is a fleet manager is generally interested in how the film performs than how the film looks. So as long as the operator is able to operate the vehicle safely and the film is not, causing any optical distortions or visual issues, the fleet manager is going to keep that film on the vehicle as long as the film is protecting the underlying windshield. On a personal vehicle, they're going to be a little bit more discerning on wear and tear. So we just like to point that out. When you apply, if you go after a fleet account, you can be a little bit more aggressive on pitching how long the product is going to last versus, say, a Porsche owner or a BMW, Audi, or a Ferrari owner. Really what it comes down to is the contributing factors for longevity are mileage driven and diligence in following aftercare instructions. So if any of you guys have seen me at SEMA, I make this correlation pretty much every single time. It seems a little silly at first, but I think it's a really good way to get people to understand why mileage driven and diligence in following aftercare instruction makes sense. So I always like to compare Clearplex to tires on a car. If you have somebody who drives really hard, so they accelerate really hard, they brake really hard, they drive a lot of miles per year, they don't follow the care, they don't rotate their tires, they're going to have to change their tires at a higher frequency than somebody that drives a moderate amount of miles per year, drives a moderate speed, brakes in the right way, and rotates their tires. And the reason why I like to make this correlation and comparison is it's something that a lot of people have experienced in their own lifetime, right? Both products are exterior products. Both products are something that have an intended lifespan and are intended to be replaced at a certain amount of time, after a certain amount of time. And when that time, and what dictates how long it lasts, it really comes down to the specific consumer, how they take care of the product, and how many miles that product is driven. So why should you install Clearplex? First, it's a high revenue and high profit product. It sets you apart from the local competition. As we mentioned, Clearplex, even though it was introduced 10 years ago, it's still a fairly novel and unique product. There's not really many places anywhere, either domestically in the US or internationally, where we are overly saturated in any specific market. It has huge growth potential, and we feel that windshield protection film has a similar growth potential to that of paint protection film. Going back to set you apart from local competition, the reason why we include that here is there's a level of skill involved in heat forming, heat shrinking Clearplex that takes a little bit of time and dedication. So if you put in that time and dedication to really get fluent with how to install Clearplex and how to install it on a wide range of vehicles, that is something that will really set you apart from local competition. And why should you choose to install Clearplex compared to other windshield protection films on the market? Well, really it comes down to the fact that Madico is the only company putting forth significant efforts in things like R&D, production, and sales to grow the windshield protection film market. Clearplex is the only windshield protection film offered in multiple sizes. So we offer it in 36, 48, 60, and 72. This allows you to sell into commercial markets, but it also allows you to be much more efficient when you're selling into the personal vehicle market. Many other windshield protection films are only offered in the 48-inch size roll. So this Porsche right here takes a 36-inch size film. So if you were using a 48-inch size roll, you would have a pretty sizable amount of waste. Also, here in the US, we offer Clearplex in partial rolls. This lowers your front-end investment costs, so you don't have to invest in a full roll of Clearplex if you don't want to. And then finally, being the fact that we are a manufacturer, any film that does not meet production specs, we set aside as training film, and we either offer it complimentary or we offer it at a very, very low cost, 50 cents a square foot. And this allows people the ability to work with the film and not have to be working with the full priced commercial grade film when you're learning how to cut, heat shrink, and install the film. Additionally, we have very robust marketing, sales, and training support. So Madico has our own in-house marketing department. Here in North America, we also have 10 regionally located full-time sales reps that are both familiar with how to sell and install the product. So in the US, we have 9 full-time sales representatives, and in Canada, we have 2. We are factory direct in all of North America. So we have 9 strategically located branches, 7 in the US, 2 in Canada. We have 1 in the northeast of the US, 1 in the southeast in Georgia. We have 1 in Florida, 2 in Texas, 1 in Arizona, and 1 in Southern California. And then in Canada, we have a Western Canada in Vancouver and an Eastern Canada branch in Toronto. So this right now concludes our presentation, and we're going to move on to questions after this. But we hope that this presentation really did a couple things. One, it identified what sets Madico and what sets Clearplex specifically apart from any of the other windshield protection films on the market. 2, we hope that we identified and proved to you that there is a very large target market for Clearplex outside of the luxury vehicle market, which is normally assumed to be the only target market for Clearplex. And 3, we hope we identified that 1, at a price point of about $500, that is a justifiable price point to all of our target markets, which means you should be able to sell this product to those customers and make them understand that they can have several Clearplex installations before they get to the cost of 1 windshield replacement. And then finally, that selling Clearplex will ensure that you make a high profit margin per install. So hopefully everybody leaves here feeling, having a lot more knowledge about Clearplex windshield protection film, and also that they have a lot more confidence in offering this product and knowing that this is going to be a great revenue and profit generator for their business. And now I will turn it over to Lauren or Karen, who will shoot over some questions to me.
Thanks, David. That was great, very informative. We have a few questions that came in. One was, will Clearplex help reduce frost?
Yes, so Clearplex, the surface of Clearplex, as I mentioned, has a 9H hardness, scratch-resistant top coat. That top coat is completely blemish-free, so it's completely smooth. So one, it makes it so the buildup of frost is less likely. But secondly, if there is frost buildup, it makes it so the frost is able to be removed much easier.
Okay, thank you. And kind of in line with that, we have someone asking about if you can use how to scrape ice off of a windshield when it has the Clearplex.
Yeah. So we've actually done recent testing over this last winter because our advice in the past was to never use ice scrapers, but we understand that that's not completely realistic. So you can use ice scrapers. We do advise that one, you make sure that your ice scrapers don't have any are as smooth as possible. And additionally, we do recommend that if you have the ability to warm your car up beforehand, that you're able to do so, because like I mentioned, the fact that the surface of Clearplex is completely smooth, it will allow ice to be repelled much easier. But you can use ice scrapers. We just highly recommend that you either, you can sharpen your ice scrapers, which I understand that's not really realistic for any end consumers. But then what we would recommend is if they do get Clearplex applied, that they go out and get a new ice scraper that doesn't have any blemishes on the edges, because those blemishes is what could get into the film and cause scratching. Then the final recommendation is that you can also recommend that your customers go onto Amazon, or you could sell these yourself and put the kind of ice covers over their windshields. I personally live in Utah, where it gets below freezing much throughout the winter. You can find these ice covers for about $15, and they're essentially a blanket that goes over the windshield, and they work very, very, very well.
Great, thank you. We have another question where someone is inquiring about trainings, hands-on trainings.
Yep. So we were in the process of creating two different training centers, one in Utah and one in Florida. We still have that in the works, but with the COVID-19 crisis, that has been put on hold. Intermittently throughout the year, either myself or other Madico, it's myself along with the other Madico sales reps, will conduct road shows. That's another way that we conduct training. So that's something that we'll have a little bit more information on once this sort of crisis subsides and we can finalize our plans of setting up those two different training sites. But we are moving towards having formal training locations, one in Utah, one in Florida. And then we are also going to continue the process of conducting road shows and in-shop trainings.
Thank you. And we have one other question here. Is the longevity still 18 months in the Northeast where they see a lot of snow and road salt?
Yes, so it is going to be 18 months, but like I mentioned, it is dependent on factors like mileage driven, care, and then climate does come into play as well. So that's something that's important to educate your customer. If you do have harsh conditions, salt or gravel that's on the road, just like that can damage your paint protection film and damage your paint, it can do the same thing to your windshield protection film as well. So you just have to be very clear when you explain those things to your customers. There's a lot of different factors that come into play. Our film is very durable and it will withstand a lot of things, but depending on the amount of mileage driven and the climate, the film could last longer than that. It could last less than that. And it's hard to give an exact answer specifically. But even in the Northeast, we do see our film last a very long time.
Okay, and we have one more question so far. Someone is looking for a supplier in the UK.
Okay, so what we'll do is if they can send their email address, we'll hand that off to Jim Ford, who is our EMEA sales manager, and he will be able to contact that person and answer that question.
Okay, thank you. That looks like we have covered all of the questions.
Okay, sounds great. And I just want to wrap up by letting everybody know that we're going to be doing a full Clearplex installation tutorial on April 29th. So that's going to be a video of myself doing the heat shrinking of the film, just to get everybody knowledgeable on why we teach wet shrinking versus dry shrinking. Also, just want to let everybody know to go and check out the Clearplex Instagram. The handle is @Clearplex, and also the Madico Instagram, which is @Madico Inc., I believe. Yes. And you can take a look at both of those, particularly the Clearplex, since we're talking about Clearplex on this webinar. We do reposts every day. So if you're interested on like who uses Clearplex, what are the cars that around the country and around the world that are getting protected, go check out the Instagram, because you're going to be getting daily updates. Also, if you check out the hashtag Clearplex on Instagram, right now there's over 35,000 hashtag Clearplexes, and there's probably 20 to 30 per day that get added of new installs around the world. And then also go on YouTube, because YouTube will cover some other things I didn't really get into in this presentation. We have both installation videos, but we have videos that show how you can expand Clearplex out of just windshield protection film. So we have many customers that use windshield as a smash and grab film for side windows. And we have a lot of very, very good videos that show how well Clearplex withstands against smash and grab theft prevention. Outside of that, as long as there's no other questions, again, just want to thank everybody for their time. We look forward to growing the Clearplex business with you. We're very excited here at Madico because we know that we're going to be having a lot of growth this year, and we're looking forward to growing with all of you.